The ultimate carb rebuild is finally upon us. It is finally time to tackle the CBX, and it is now on the table. It took me way too long to get to this point with this bike, but last year was absolutely crazy with all the stuff that we did that I kind of forgot this bike was there. I was looking at this bike in the corner of the garage. I had finished my Bonneville and I said, it is finally time. It's going to be a little bit of a tedious process to clean the carbs out of the bike because the whole engine actually has to be tilted forward. It has to be dismounted from every single engine mounting. It's a little intense, but it's going to be well worth it when we hear this inline 6-cylinder scream at the end of this video. It's not going to be too bad, but it is time consuming. After the first time, I assume it gets a lot better. We're going to take our time in order to not break anything on this machine because I don't want to know what replacement parts are going to cost, if you can even get them. But the legendary CBX is finally going to run, and I am so excited. The very first step with the CBX is to take the entirety of the exhaust off. Some people said that you didn't need to take them off, but I also see them having earlier versions and iterations of the CBX which are different from the later version which I have. I decided to take the entirety of the exhaust system off. It was annoying, tedious, but probably worth it in the end scenario. In order to do this, you just take the 2 bolts off of each cylinder in the front that removes the clamp ring. Following down the pipe, there is a middle intersection that you do need to disconnect and pull away from each other, but also on the rear peg, there are 2 bolts that hold the bracket into place that you need to remove as well. Now that the exhaust is off, we can move over to the next portion of the CBX carb process. After removing the exhaust, the next thing is to get the chain and the sprocket off. Obviously, we're tipping the engine forward. It's not quite a full removal, but it's basically there. The sprocket cover comes off, then the sprocket and chain can come off. As you see, the sprocket and chain are super dirty, and I do make sure that I thoroughly clean this before putting it back together. Then the next thing I did is make sure we disconnect all of the wiring harness from the engine itself. The next step is going to be to remove the upper mounts of the engine so the engine can tip forward safely and efficiently. At the same time, remove all of the spark plug wires and remove the tachometer cable as well. After getting those things removed, it was go time. It was now time to take off the rear mountings of the carburetor that mount to the airbox. I also did put the jack underneath it, and we removed the rear main bolt that holds the engine forward. At this point, after removing that, there was nothing to hold the engine up other than the jack. All the weight was on the jack. And also don't forget to remove the throttle cables. Now that the engine's down, we heated the carb boots out, removed the airbox, and took the carburetors off of the machine. After all that work, we finally have the carbs out. Now we need to do the tedious process of cleaning 6 carburetors. Oh my God. Now that is a carburetor setup. What you're hearing clunking around are the slides in the carburetors. Got a little bit of gas leaking out, but that looks crazy. I'm holding them upside down, obviously, so they're leaking a little bit on my hands, but we got them out. It was a little painful to get it out, I won't lie. The hardest part is just getting it out of the actual bike, but I can smell the old gas. It smells horrible. Let's get these bowls cracked open and see what they look like. So before I spill more gas on my garage floor, let's pop these open and see what they look like on the bench here. Good tool to have if you're working on Japanese machines. I'm sure you guys have heard of these before, but these are Japanese industrial standard screwdrivers. So they kind of got a flat tip on them, and when you put them into the bolts, I believe these are not magnetic, but the other ones I have are. If you give them a little tap before you unscrew anything, they kind of get stuck into the screw and you won't strip the bolts. So you kind of just go like this, give it a little tap, and you're able to kind of undo it without a ton of risk. So you kind of, it's seated in there, and there isn't that much risk into cracking all of them open. I'm going to do that to all of these. I'm going to break them all loose, and then we can look and examine what they look like. Now I know what you guys are saying. You guys have been seeing us wear these sick t-shirts all summer long, been wondering, yo, where do I get one of those? Well, they are now officially live on the VintageRacingClub.co official website. Not only are these t-shirts super sick, but they're also really high quality because that's what we do. Fire t-shirts, now! So I've got all of the carburetor bowls sort of loose. Haven't taken a look as far as what is inside of them at all. So let's begin popping them open from cylinder number 6 here all the way to cylinder number 1 here. So there is first bowl here. Bowl itself, I mean, yeah, it definitely needs to be cleaned. The gasoline in the bowl is green. Looks more like a Gatorade than anything. And oh my god, look at that. Look at how clogged that is. Yeah, these carbs definitely need to be done. I mean, there's no way any fuel is getting into there whatsoever. Oh my god. Yeah, pretty much just as dirty. That doesn't look as bad on this one, but that still definitely needs to be cleaned. Right now, I'm just gonna open all of them and see how they look. Then we're going to actually attack them by taking them apart all the way and doing each side by itself. I think doing 3 and 3 is going to be much easier than doing all 6 and having all 6 of them torn apart. The good thing about this is that with the air filter out of the way, we can get them on and off the bike pretty easily now. We don't have to fully mock the motorcycle up in order to get the carbs on. But it should only take about 10 minutes at the most to get the carbs on and off to just bench tune and test to make sure everything works good. This is what I believe to be the choke or the accelerator pump to pump extra fuel into the carbs here. That goes on number 3. None of these are looking like too horrible. All the floats look fine. All the jets, I mean, they're dirty for sure. The gasoline is radioactive, but it's not too bad. I've definitely seen worse carbs. I mean, these definitely will not run, but as far as the condition of them, it's pretty good. A simple clean should go a long way for these. I'm gonna take cylinder 1 off first. Hopefully that'll incentivize cylinder number 2 to come out. Okay, that one came out pretty easily. That one is 100% clogged. There we go. So there is our rack and all of the bowls taken off. They all look good. I mean, none of them are damaged in any way, but they definitely are dirty. Most of them, if not every single one of them, other than cylinder number 5 here, is visibly clogged. Now I did all of that work taking all of these apart, and what I'm going to do now is put it all back together, and we're gonna take these off of the rack and individually take each one apart. My dad and I then began the arduous process of taking all of these carbs apart, cleaning them individually and putting the whole thing back together. And when I mean my dad and I mean mainly my dad. He did most of the heavy lifting here, I will not lie. But we did have a problem. This little bracket, this little fuel line that does go into the carburetor actually was cracked. Decided to order a new one, and this thing took a month to arrive. This little thing delayed us so big time, and it kind of was really frustrating as we literally needed to just put it all together, but we were waiting for this small little piece to get here. Yeah, this one sucked. I don't know why it took so long. With all that being said, the carbs were then ready to go back in. And there it is. This was a long time in the making. I didn't do the best at documenting the process of dropping the engine and everything. But we just racked up the carbs after cleaning them, just tipped forward the motor. I replaced all of the spark plugs in the engine. These are the old plugs, a little crusty, but not too bad. We just tipped the motor forward last night and put the air box in. All of this is all back together. Now we have to fight the fairing in order to fit back properly and fully mount the engine up. Right now it is mounted on the back bolt and one of the front bolts to take all the weight off of the jack. We don't want it sitting like that, obviously. It is properly mounted, but this rear bolt needs to go in and the fairing needs to bolt back in right there. Then is probably the more annoying part of all of this. The exhaust system has to go back on. I really would like to do an aftermarket exhaust on this bike. For now, for good reason, I am going to put the stock mufflers back on. Also, I know I didn't do the best at documenting this process and in further detail of how we did everything, but next time I will do a much better job and show you guys more of the intricate details of dropping the engine and things if you guys are interested. After getting the exhaust mounted up, which we're going to do in just a second, we got to mount the sprocket and the chain back up. This chain is pretty clapped, and you can tell it hasn't been cleaned in a long time. All this gunk I've been dealing with is because the chain wasn't cleaned thoroughly through its lifetime, which is the reason why it's so dirty. It needs to be replaced, and this desperately needs to be cleaned. It's hard to tell, but all of that, and you can see that a lot better, is very crusty. With that said, let's get this exhaust and everything else mounted up, and then do the final thing we need to do before we can take it for a ride. Because she is gonna run. Here's a clip of it firing without an exhaust. Damn thing sounds like Cam V8. Now obviously the bike had been sitting for a long time, so the brakes needed to be done. The front master cylinders, the calipers, all of it came off. They were flushed thoroughly, the brakes were bled, and everything came working pretty nicely. We did put new pads in the front because they seemed pretty worn down, but other than that, everything was really ready to go, and now the brakes do work 100%. Man, has it been a journey with this CBX. It's been multiple months, lots of delays, and a little bit of slacking from my part as well, I won't lie. Now earlier this week I did mention I was going to be riding the CBX in the video you're currently watching. If you can't tell by my voice, I am sick for yet another summer. I don't know what it is about summer, but I am continuously just getting sick. And well, I really wanted to ride the CBX, but for the last 2 days I haven't been able to work on it because I just haven't had enough energy. Now what is really cool, and if you guys have made it this far in the video, you did get to hear the CBX run. The CBX is super close to being done, and in the next episode, we will be riding it. I mean, just listen to that thing. It sounds so good. Obviously, it did that before as well. But what I'm going to do for you guys right now is I'm actually going to fire it up and let you guys hear it with the exhaust. Now, without the exhaust, I mean, it kind of sounded really gnarly, but obviously with the Honda restriction, the Honda factory exhaust, well, I mean, it still sounds really good. But it doesn't have that CBX scream that an aftermarket system would. And the only thing that is left with the CBX is finishing the gas tank. I need to finish and get the rust out of the tank. Then we need to clean the chain and the sprocket. We will order new chain and sprocket, but for now, just to make sure that the bike is all good, we're gonna use the old one. That tank actually isn't for this CBX. If you guys did hear me say, we're gonna do this again, well, we're gonna be doing this again. We've all got that family member that likes to drink too much, and this one is mine. I don't feel bad, but I should feel bad firing this motorcycle up. The fact that I'm not waking my neighbors up. I started up my Triumph earlier today and took it for a ride, and this thing is louder than that. Inline 6-cylinder 1000, come on man. I need this thing to scream sooner than later. These things do have a vacuum system, but we're just gonna ignore that for now. CBX. Alright, so here goes nothing. Should have enough fuel. Put a little bit more fuel in it just for some good luck here. Alright, come on CBX, do your thing. There we go. Yes! Man, I cannot emphasize how good that is. The bike still is clearing out his throat, that is for sure. Definitely smokes a little bit. I don't think it's a big deal. We just haven't used the bike enough. It'll probably go away after a little while. The other thing, higher idle, was because it's starving itself for fuel. It didn't want to fire up right away. It's been a couple of weeks since it's been touched. The battery definitely needs to charge, but also it just didn't have enough gasoline. I think that final bit of gas that got into it finally was enough to let the bike just rev up. CBX mechanic. I am CBX certified. Call me Mr. CBX, ladies and gentlemen.